2 o'clock after midnight and you're hungry. So you decide to walk into the kitchen to look for something to eat. While wandering in the dark, you move in a spiral motion and suddenly, oops, the mug falls. Luckily, it doesn't shatter, only a small part of the handle breaks off. To fix the situation, you grab the glue, scientifically known as super glue, and start trying to attach the broken piece back in place. Once the mission is successfully accomplished, you begin trying to remove the leftover glue from your hands. But then, have you ever wondered in the middle of the night? Why does the glue stick instantly once it's outside, but it doesn't stick while it's still inside the tube? Why is it that the moment it touches your skin or clothes, it bonds so strongly that it's hard to remove? Yet it sits inside the tube all that time without sticking? What's the secret? Welcome to Midnight Reflections, where curiosity never sleeps. Now, let's find out. Where curiosity never sleeps. Some people believe that the container holding the glue is made from a special material that prevents it from sticking inside. But in reality, that's not true at all. The tube that contains the glue is usually made of plastic, and sometimes it's made of thin metal foil or tin. And whether it's metal or plastic, both of these materials bond with glue just like paper does. In fact, glue can literally stick two rocks together with incredible strength. So, the idea that the container is made from some anti-stick material is simply a misconception. Now, does that mean there are no materials that glue or other adhesives cannot bond to? Of course, there are plenty of materials that remain unaffected by adhesives. These are called non-stick surfaces. But usually these materials are very expensive, even more costly than the glue itself. And obviously, no company would manufacture a glue container from something more expensive than the actual product it's selling. If that were the case, people would just start collecting glue containers and selling them. Alright, so maybe the manufacturers coat the inside of the container with an oily layer or some insulating material, creating a barrier between the glue and the container walls to prevent sticking? That would seem cheaper than making the whole container out of a non-stick material, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not true either. No insulating material or oil is added to the inside of the container. Glue manufacturers don't bother with that kind of extra cost. In fact, the secret is much simpler than you might think. White glue, in all its forms and types, is generally made of a sticky polymer mixed with water. The water acts as a solvent, keeping the glue in liquid form for a long time. As long as the glue remains in its liquid state, its adhesive ability is very weak, almost non-existent. It simply cannot perform its natural function, sticking things together. The only time glue can actually flex its muscles and start bonding is when the water inside begins to evaporate. That's when the glue transforms into a strong adhesive substance. So, what do manufacturers do? They keep the glue in its liquid form at all times by sealing it in a simple plastic or metal container, making sure it's completely filled, leaving no empty spaces. Then, they close it tightly to prevent any air from reaching the glue. And that's the real secret. Air is the magical trigger. It's what allows the water in the glue to evaporate, and once that happens, the glue finally turns into the super strong adhesive we all know. And when you put a drop of glue on paper, cardboard, or anything else you want to stick, the chemical mixture that makes up the glue gets exposed to air. That exposure transforms it from a liquid into a solid state that has adhesive properties. But as long as the glue is kept away from air, it won't stick to anything, and it won't stick to the inside of its own container. The same principle applies to other types of adhesives as well. Take regular glue, for example. It's produced from animal or plant-based products that naturally exist in liquid form. Once the water in it evaporates, it immediately begins its job as an adhesive. Regular glue, too, is stored in plastic or metal containers, sealed away from air. And that's why it maintains its properties for long periods, as long as it remains inside the container and away from atmospheric exposure. The same goes for countless other materials that air can spoil. For example, paints, liquid colors, black varnish, and many other substances are all stored inside sealed containers. Once exposed to air, they start reacting and performing their function. But as long as they remain inside the container, they stay inactive. So far, we've been talking about one type of glue, white glue, which is the most common and also the safest. It's even safe enough for children to use. But in reality, there's another type of adhesive that's much more aggressive and extremely powerful: superglue. Superglue is incredibly strong and highly effective. It's made of chemical compounds from the cyanoacrylate family. These compounds are non-adhesive as long as they remain inside the container. Interestingly, they're already completely dry inside the tube. In order for them to transform into an adhesive, they must react with a tiny amount of water. Unlike regular glue, which works when water evaporates, superglue gets its water directly from the surrounding environment. It uses the moisture in the air or the humidity present on the surfaces it bonds to. Because it requires only a very small amount of moisture, the atmospheric humidity is enough. So, in both cases, air is the main driver. It's what transforms these substances from inactive to adhesive. Whether it's by evaporating water in regular glue or by supplying just enough moisture for superglue, the air plays the key role. And finally, I invite you to stick with our channel. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Now you know. Got more midnight questions? Drop them in the comments. Stay curious, and I'll see you in another Midnight Mystery.